Hi, I'm David Hamburger, and in this lesson, we're going to improve your blues by accenting the backbeat. Now, the backbeat is beats 2 and 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're using an alternating thumb on the 6th string, 4th string, 5th string, and 4th string, but we're not using it to create a typical Travis picking kind of pattern picking thing. We're going to just outline the chord using the root and the fifth, the roots and the fifth of an E chord. And instead of holding down the whole E chord, we're going to use the index finger, rock back and forth between the 5th and the 4th string to get the notes that we need for the bass. And then we're going to accent the backbeats or the bass notes on beats 2 and 4 by playing a damped note on 2 and by playing a hammer-on beat 4. So the way the damped note works is that you relax your grip so that you're not pressing the string down to the fretboard, but just resting your finger on the string so that you just get that. You don't actually get the note, but you're touching the string so you don't just get the open string. So you can practice this just by pressing your finger down for a note and then relaxing your grip to kill the note. And when you relax your grip, you're in the right place to make that kind of dead stroke. So we're going to have this. And so on the 4th beat, we're going to play the open 4th string, and on the and, we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret. So from flat 7 to root of the E chord. So all together that gives us and for extra credit, you can try tapping your foot on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which kind of helps you put the weight on those backbeat notes on beats 2 and 4. But if that makes it even more complicated, then don't worry about it. Just worry about your hands and your foot will probably take care of itself. Now, the other thing about putting together this kind of groove is that you want to also play some of those choked or damp notes on the offbeats, the notes you're going to be playing with one of your fingers. So you might play on the and of 2 with the index finger. And so now we've got and you could also do that after on the and of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so I'm just letting my index finger stay draped across the top 4 strings, really. So both the notes I'm playing with my thumb on the 4th string and the notes I'm playing on the 3rd string with my index finger are damped. And you might even just practice like this. So now your index finger is actually covering 5 strings, everything but the low string, and you're just letting it stay relaxed and damping, except for the downbeat of 3 when you press down to the string, press the string down to the fretboard to get that B note. So because that's really the bones of the sound is this. And that's what you can hear the bass doing, and that's the feel behind a lot of those 50s just barely electrified Muddy Waters tunes, and some of the Howlin' Wolf stuff too. You just hear this, that's the feel. If you speed that up, it's Got My Mojo Working, or Can't Be Satisfied, or one of those kind of tunes. Right, so that's kind of what we're going for ultimately. So now we've got, and we can put that hammer on back in on the 4th beat. So 1 and 2. Actually, now we're putting in one on the and of 1 too. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So the only notes you really hear are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything else is And once you have notes on every downbeat and every and, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, then you can include them or leave them out. Like you can leave out the and of 1 and even the and of 2. To varying degrees. You just want that underlying pulse, that underlying subdivision to be there. And you can even create little call and response patterns by leaving out the ands at first, leaving out the and of 1, leaving out the and of 3. And then the second time putting them back in. So and sometimes you can actually play beat 2 as an actual note. So there's all different ways to mix it up, but those are the bones of the groove. And then finally, the thing you want to do is try to put some licks on top. So we can take this lick. And it's just a minor pentatonic lick, sliding up from the flat 7 to the root, and then coming down the scale. And so the trick is, how does that fall over the bass? And so if we just break it down step by step, on the downbeat we have the slide along with the bass, and then 2 and are just going to be damp notes. So that's kind of the great thing about playing those choked or damp notes, is you don't have to get back into position to play a real note. You can just drape your hand down and get 2 and wherever you happen to be. And then into the groove. And now when we hammer on beat 4, we play the open flat 7 and hammer on to the root on the and of 4, so right? 4 and that hammer on is going to coincide with playing the root on top, which is anticipated. So you've got to coordinate the conclusion of the hammer on with picking the high string. So all of that, you've got this note hanging out from the and of 4. So we're going to actually play some real bass notes during the measure of the lick. So, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So more of that simultaneous, coordinating hammer-ons and pull-offs with picked notes. So on beat 2, we're going to pull off from the 3rd fret to open on the B string, and time the pull-off so that the pull-off finishes as you're picking the E in the bass. And then go down to the next note. Here we're going to move the index finger over on beat 3 and get a pinch. And then on beat 4, we're going to pull off from the 3rd string, 2nd fret to open, while picking the open 4th string. And then hammer on the and of 4 to finish the melody. So back into the groove. And there's one more thing you can do on the and of 1 when you're playing the groove, which is to grab the top 2 notes as kind of a stab on the and of 1, and then bring your hand back in for those damp notes, which will choke off those high strings. And once you're sort of up to speed, when you're coming in to make the damp notes, that will automatically cut off the high strings. So we put all that together. We've got the groove. that's how to accent the backbeat and play that kind of halftime country blues feel. So hope you have fun working on that. If you'd like more lessons on groove and more ideas about improvising and arranging and blues repertoire, you can head over to my website, fretboardconfidential.com, and I'll see you next time.